the Post-it note. What most people see as a crucial part of their daily work is actually a total accident. In fact, this seemingly simple piece of sticky paper failed as a product for over 6 years, but as we know now, it's created a billion-dollar industry. The sticky materials behind the Post-it note have also revolutionized not only the office supplies we use today, but also medical treatments, logistics, and so much more. It's even considered as a modern scientific breakthrough. In this video, we'll dive into the invention of the Post-it note, the fascinating science and chemistry behind it, its genius marketing strategy, and the story about how all of this even happened. The year is 1968, and Dr. Spencer Silver, an organic chemist working under 3M, discovered something interesting. His task was to find the strongest adhesives possible for various aerospace and industrial projects. The goal was to find more efficient ways to physically join extremely heavy materials together, whether that be for massive aircraft or large-scale appliances. However, during his experimentation, what he found instead was a very weak adhesive. What was interesting though was that it could be applied to surfaces more than once. By adding just a little bit of pressure, it would stick, and by lightly peeling it off, it would lift. Little did he know that this would be the beginning of a revolutionary product. You see, Silver was experimenting with something called pressure-sensitive adhesives, or PSAs, which basically activate the chemical bonds in the adhesive glue after some pressure is applied, making those bonds stronger, and thus the adhesive as well. He specifically wanted to maximize two metrics that define the strength of the adhesive bond. First was shear strength, which is the horizontal force pulling the two surfaces joined by the adhesive, and second, peel strength, which is measured by the vertical force perpendicular to the two surfaces. Instead, he found a material with an unusually low shear and peel strength, which was the exact opposite of what he was looking for. And because the industry standard was to find stronger and more durable adhesives, he couldn't really determine any plausible use case for his new discovery. To understand why he dismissed his idea and how he even got to this unique material, let's dive into the fascinating science and chemistry behind his discovery in PSAs. The pressure-sensitive adhesives are made of polymers, large molecules that are assembled from smaller ones, called monomers. They typically form a chain, with each monomer linked with each other. What's interesting about these polymer-based adhesives is that they can stick to surfaces based off the strength of the bonds. Once we apply some pressure to the adhesive, the bonds should form, and depending on the strength of those bonds, the adhesive and the surface should stick more strongly. What chemists like Silver are trying to find is a unique, undiscovered polymer by mixing different ratios of monomers to modify the original polymer's properties. For example, even just a small change in the concentration of a single monomer can drastically alter the structure and the strength of the resulting polymer. Silver, as a result, had accidentally created the very first weak and reusable adhesive. What happens with this adhesive at the molecular level is the formation of microspheres, 50 micrometers to 70 micrometers in size. These elastic microspheres, once pressure is applied with another surface, expand like a squishing rubber ball. And since the surface area of the contact points increases, the forces increase as well, sticking the adhesive to the surface. Despite the novelty of his discovery, Silver struggled to envision its applications, as it was far from his original goal and had little to no precedent in the industry. As he described it, it was a solution looking for a problem. Until it was brought up in conversation by another 3M researcher and chemist, Art Fry, an entire 6 years later. Art Fry had a problem. He kept losing his page in the hymn books at his church. He had long wished for a reusable bookmark that would stick to the page with ease without damaging the actual paper. Current bookmarks either slipped out or required permanent methods to attach, which were either highly inefficient or ruined the paper. After thinking for a while, suddenly, it clicked for him. He made the connection. He discovered that he could use his colleague's idea of the sticky adhesive and attach it to a piece of paper to make it into an actionable product, like the bookmark he needed. With this new idea in hand, his team quickly began to work on the problem. It was not as simple as adding the adhesive to the paper though, as the substance often left marks on the actual surface it was left on. they did have to make a few modifications to Silver's adhesive to make it more sustainable, by adding a thin layer of primer and adding them to pieces of paper. And just a side fun fact, the Post-it note papers are originally yellow because they only had yellow scrap paper in their lab. Just something interesting. By the end of their experimentation and design, Fry and Silver had officially created the world's first reusable sticky note, which they originally named the Press and Peel. Fry quickly pushed the marketing department to deploy the new product in stores. Their original plan was to come up with a few ads and sell it as a traditional consumer-based product, stocking them on shelves. However, after testing the sales in 4 different cities, they realized no one really wanted the product. After all, they've been using paper clips and staples for ages, so why should they really switch? It's just a sticky piece of paper, so how could they market this without the users actually using it in the first place? That said, they did notice something noteworthy in their tests. People who did end up using their product loved it and always came back to use it again. Despite the discovery, 3M decided to put the Press and Peels off the shelves because of its disappointing sales, and the progress to the sticky notes we now know today was halted. Instead of accepting defeat, Fry and Silver's team went back to the drawing board to come up with a new solution. And in just 2 years, they came up with one of history's most ingenious and iconic marketing moves. In 1979, new management arrived and Geoff Nicholson became the technical manager of the new ventures for 3M. Nicholson loved the idea of the sticky notes, as did his boss, Joe Ramey. With the approval of new leadership, they could swing twice at the bat, this time hoping to hit a home run. Here's what they did. First, they changed the name of the Press and Peel to the Post-it note because they thought it more accurately defined the product's use case. Then, realizing the results from last time, they figured out that people only loved the product once they actually started using it. So, their solution? To give Post-it notes away to every single office they could find, for free. It was genius. This way, people could understand how the product would work, simply by using it. Later that year, an army of 3M employees gave free Post-it notes to all offices that accepted them in Boise, Idaho. And after a few months, they came back with the results. This time around, unlike last time, was a huge success. Over 90% of the consumers who used the product bought more again and started a word-of-mouth explosive growth for the Post-it note. This marketing strategy and business move is now often cited in marketing and business journals as the Boise Blitz, a fast yet powerful business move that launched the Post-it note into stardom. Even to this day, many companies have employed similar techniques with their own products, especially those that are more avant-garde and difficult to advertise traditionally. However, their quick rise to fame wasn't without controversy. In 1997, years after the Post-it note became a global phenomenon, Alan Amron, another well-known and profound inventor, filed a lawsuit against 3M under an intellectual property dispute. Amron had already been a prolific inventor, inventing the very first battery-operated water gun, the Super Soaker, among many other innovative inventions. He claimed that he invented the sticky note in 1973, 1 full year before the 3M scientists developed the product that became the Post-it note. Amron said that he had been looking for a way to stick a note on his fridge for his wife, which prompted him to think of the idea to create an adhesive that would be used on his product, which he called the press-on memo. He also stated that he took the sticky notes to a New York trade show in 1973, where he met with 2 3M executives, but nothing substantial came out of the meeting. Amron eventually settled the lawsuit against 3M under the terms that still remain confidential. However, in 2016, later filed another lawsuit seeking $400 million in damages, and claiming that the company breached his prior contract to not claim credit for sticky note products. He thought that 3M had considered that neither he nor 3M was the inventor of the sticky note, and 3M claimed that Fry and Silver had invented the Post-it note, so he was not happy. Eventually, in the end, the same verdict was reached as last time, and the case was quickly dismissed. Amron stated after the fact, "It's not surprising that big money be little money." But it's important to note that Amron didn't have a patent over his invention, and more importantly, he didn't even have the patent over the adhesive 3M had used for the Post-it note. Nowadays, Fry and Silver are still credited with the invention of the Post-it note, and both are recognized in the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Today, We now see Post-it notes everywhere. They've become an integral part of our modern culture. They've been used in so many places, from being employed in school supplies for studying and organizational purposes, to being featured in art pieces like The Yellow Sticky Diary of a Mad Secretary, to even being shown in museums like the Museum of Modern Art. The growth of Post-it notes is steady, and today the sticky notes have become a multi-billion-dollar industry, valued at just above $2.46 billion. Not only that, but the accidental discovery of the PSA behind Post-it notes is being deployed throughout the world. From labeling for various retail packaging, to pediatric bandaging for infants and young children, post-surgical dressings for open wounds, to even screen protectors for our phones. If the new PSA discovery hadn't been initially applied to Post-it notes, it's hard to say if any of these truly impactful inventions would have ever existed, as Post-it notes opened the eyes of the world to weak adhesive-specific use cases. Post-it notes served as a proof of concept for an otherwise complete mistake. That said, Post-it notes are just one of the countless brilliant inventions humans have ever created, and on my channel, I'll cover other stories just like this. So if you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it'll make sure my videos get pushed to your feed. Thanks for watching.